everybody. Welcome to Teachers Talk. This is our very first episode with a guest, a very, very special guest. We are here today speaking everything education and hoping these conversations go beyond the staff room. I'm your host, Pelisa Mugavazi, and today we have Theodocia Mendlula. She's my mentor, was my lecturer, now my colleague, and also we've developed a sisterhood, a very beautiful sisterhood in this career that we share. Hi, Thea.
Hi, Pelisa.
Welcome, and thank you so much for accepting our invite.
It's an absolute pleasure, and I'm really proud of you having started this podcast.
Thank you.
So yes,
Thank you. How
I'm
are you
glad
doing?
to be here.
Yeah. How are you doing? How's the holidays treating you?
I'm well rested now, but
Yeah.
it's been, I needed the holiday.
Yeah, we always need the holidays. So we're going to jump right straight into it. Today's conversation is just going to be around education as a whole and how we view it, our says, our struggles, and what we think we can do moving forward in our individual basis, and we're just putting this out there. So I'm going to jump straight into it. We're going to go into the misconceptions that are around the profession. All right, and I'll start with my first question to you, which is, from your days in your academia to where you are now, what has remained consistent about your passion for education?
Well, if you do something that you enjoy, it becomes easier to do it for longer.
Yeah.
But also, having had the opportunity to diversify. So like you said, I was a lecturer. I've taught high school, I've taught primary school,
Yes.
and I've homeschooled my kids.
Yes.
So I have a 360, 180 view of what education is like.
Yes.
And at this stage, the classroom is still the place where I want to be.
You want to be frontline, since I always use that saying of I want to be in there, like I want to feel everything that's going on. All right, and then now we're going to move into the public perception. Okay, we'll start with the first question. It says, what do you think there's such a disconnect between how teachers are perceived and how the reality on the ground is?
Well, there's that old saying, those who can't teach. But you won't be able to if you were not taught by someone.
Yes.
So again, it goes back to people are being classist about professions and who's important and who's not important.
Yeah.
So a teacher is someone you will find on every single level.
Yes.
So why would a teacher who's in school be less important than a lecturer, a professor? So it depends on the role that we play in the level at which we play. So they're all important, but the status is not the same.
That's
and
true.
that is something that we really need to look at.
Yeah.
About the role of teachers in how we actually change society, how we build society,
Yes.
and not just sit in the class, wait for the holidays.
Yes, and then no, it's not like that. There's a saying that I like a lot, and I recently, because they had a segment on radio and people were saying their professions and how they feel like their professions are not heard or seen. And this lady called in and she called it the master of all professions. And that stuck to me, and I was like, yes, it definitely is the master of all professions, because the foundation of everything, every child's ignition of, okay, my dream is going to be possible, starts within the classroom, because through the different subjects, through the different things that we do in the classroom, it all starts there. I even think of foundation phase teachers. I was asking my partner this morning, and I was saying, what do you think of when you think of your creche? Do you ever think of your teachers? And he's like, nah. I don't think I've ever thought of those teachers. I'm like, do you know what they go through? You know, trying to teach phonics, trying to make sure children can write. You know, all of those things are, I feel they're so heavy. And the world or our economy or our country even just looks at it and just brushes it over.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like it's not as important. I always say we are as important as doctors. if I can put it out there.
Most definitely. And unfortunately with education, in basic education, the focus is only on the matric results. But we have different exit points.
Yes.
So just imagine a scenario where we use the same fanfare that we use for matric results for when kids move out of foundation phase.
Yes.
Because those teachers need to be recognized. If a kid gets to grade 4 and you can read and you can do all the things that we are being bad-mouthed for, why are we not recognizing those people?
Exactly.
And so when the kid now moves to intermediate phase, when I exit at grade 6, there needs to be recognition. And obviously, you're going to need some form or way to measure performance of teachers. So why not put that in place?
Yes.
Then we do that at grade 9. Now they have their GET certificate that they want to give kids. Recognition again, because there were people involved with those children from grade 7 to grade 9 to get them to that point.
Yes.
And then maybe people will fall back in love with their jobs because you are being recognized. And it ties into the global perspective of where are we lying in terms of our level of education. Because the focus is just maths, but really there's so many other things that kids need or can be taught.
Yes.
And that we can measure because it's a measurable thing. Yeah.
You mentioned something now, I don't want us to go, but we'll go in the terms of the global view of education. And now obviously we're speaking in the South African context. And I think the more I research, the gaps are so huge. I always say I don't like to badmouth, the apartheid era and, the innovations it had, the implementations and solutions that it had. But if we're looking at the facts, there is still a huge gap within the South African education system. There's a video on my TikTok where there's a popular video that came up that had so many likes, and I think the girl in the video, she's in a location and there's something that she cannot, I can't remember, but I think we'll put the video in here. Let's say for example in that video she couldn't name a continent. She said something about some continent being in Africa. And everyone is laughing at this video and all of that. And my TikTok video went on to say, guys, you are all laughing at this video, but this video speaks to a larger story. It speaks to our unemployment. It speaks to the state of our country. It speaks to the state of education in this country.
And in the level of exposure, I have this thing where I do not want to watch anything where our children have to dance or sing.
Yes. Because
we are so much more than that. Yes, dancing and singing is good, it's in our nature.
Yes.
But why are we only focusing on that aspect of what our kids are learning? So with that girl who does not know which continent is whatever, but it's also being deprived of access. So again, it goes back to the root cause.
Yes.
Where does it start? It starts there in the foundation phase. So if a child is taught to read well, then you will be able to get that access and use it to your advantage. And with reading comes reasoning, and so we expand on that, But it has to come from the top down.
Yes.
I have my own ideas about how it can be done from the bottom as well, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, so thank you. Let's go on and divulge into this topic. The next one is, I think we also spoke to this, is what are some of the biggest myths or misconceptions about teachers in South Africa?
Well, that we're in it for the holidays. It's definitely not for the
money. It's a half-day job.
Yeah, it's a half-day job. But there's one other thing that I always say. If you want to know what teachers are in it for, ask someone who lives with a teacher. And you will find that all we talk about is our child and this and that. Tonight you might not be able to sleep because you realize that child sitting at the back was just too quiet today. And so that bothers you.
Yeah.
And so it's not a job where you can switch off, close the door and walk out. You take it with you everywhere you go.
That's very true.
And with the number of years that I've been teaching, when I go shopping, I always hear people, "Hi, man," or some man will say to you, "Well, you're not my teacher."
I know you from somewhere.
I know you from somewhere. I'm like, okay. Then I just ask, at which school did I teach you?
It clicks.
And then we move on from there. So it's not a 8-hour job. It's not a 9-month job. It's something that once you're in it and you stay, you remain a teacher. You carry it with you through your life.
Yes. There's something my grand sister, she's a teacher, and she stayed her whole life, and she used to say she used to just, like, her hand was like, I carried so much children through these hands. And she says, you won't believe, some have gone overseas, some have this, some have that, and for me, the only thing that matters is that I made an impact on that child's life. And that's what the truth of teaching is all about. We just want that one child at the back to say, "No, ma'am, today was a great lesson. I took this away, and thank you so much." And that's the core and the heart of what we do. And to hear people say, "Oh no, it's a half-day job. Oh, Nina, you guys are so happy you get holidays." You guys, they don't understand the overstimulation that we get, the different roles that we play on a daily basis, the struggle of actually trying to make sure a child understands the concepts, get to one stage of learning and graduates to another. That is not just a job. It's not just a half-day job. It's not just something we can overlook again.
Yeah, and you can't just switch it off. Because, like I said, it goes with you everywhere you go.
Everywhere you go, even in the malls.
No.
All right, and then it says, do you think the public understands the emotional labor? We just went through that, but do you think that the public understands, and if they ever take the time out to, do you think they will ever understand?
Look, if you now think about when you interact with parents, the feedback they want from you is that you understand their child completely. Almost as if it's the only child you're teaching.
True.
So that takes an emotional toll on you. If a parent asks you about a child that you maybe really didn't pay much attention to. But it's not because you don't want to pay attention to the child. There's just so much happening in a classroom all the time.
On a daily basis.
That you might just overlook someone. So for me, emotionally, that can really
take its toll.
Yeah, take its toll.
Yeah.
And also then you go back and you deal with the guilt and what if not. And if there's something that happens with a kid and you did not notice it, then again, you ask yourself, how did I miss this? How did I? And obviously the joys of being with kids. Yeah. There are some kids that you just see them and you start smiling.
You just think of them and you start smiling, because there's something special there. So I think, because we're going to go into our next section now of curriculum, but I think the main misconception, and you'll let me know if we agree, is that our job is important and it's more than just teaching. And I think all we ask humbly so is that the community at large sees that, recognizes that, and most importantly appreciates that a teacher's journey is not just in the classroom and that's it. It goes far, far, far beyond that.
The one thing I thought about quite deeply regarding this is that, if a nation does not understand the vision of the country, and there's no clear plan as to how every sector of the country fits into that long-term vision.
Yes. Yeah.
So now, do I understand what's the goal? What's the country's goal? Do we want our children to be as tech savvy as the Chinese? Do we want them to be the best engineers? What do we want?
What is the end goal?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that when a parent looks at their child's journey, they can see, okay,
this makes sense.
Yeah, this is where we're going.
Yeah.
But for as long as there's no clear plan within a school, within a classroom, within a country, a community, or whatever, then we're all lost. And then I think at this stage we are lost because we're still doing the traditional thing, but we're dealing with a child that's in a modern world. So,
and we try and prepare that child for a modern world.
Yeah. Basically what we're doing in the class is we're preparing them for a world that doesn't exist any longer. And so how do we change it? Who is going to change it? When are we going to change it?
Yes.
Because I don't hear any rumors about curriculum changes.
And we need that. Now we're diving into that curriculum. And the first one that we had, and you've already answered it, is what are the challenges you faced when implementing the curriculum? So we spoke about the one, it's outdated.
Yeah, it's redundant because, some of the stuff that kids are learning, I learned in school. I'm not going to say when I was in school.
William Shakespeare sonnet number Mang.
Look, there's a place for it. There is a place for it.
There's no place for William Shakespeare.
In terms of language learning, there's a place for it.
Are we all going to be, sorry to cut you, but are we all going to be, unless you're a film student, I don't know, one of those people, trying to digress, what does this stanza mean? And what does this simile mean?
Yeah. Not necessarily, but you know where it comes in. In terms of the whole thing of, like I said, kids need to learn how to read.
Yes.
Then we teach them to be critical about what they're reading and they should be able to evaluate it. It comes back to the misinformation that we see on social media. So now if you've never heard of William Shakespeare, anyone can come in and just quote, William Shakespeare said this. But if you had some exposure to it, then you can say, okay, let me go and see where it comes from, what it meant then and what it means now. Because those are the types of kids that I would like to see us send out into the world, where you don't just accept it because someone said it and that makes it the truth. And yes, you are not going to now go to the library, find an encyclopedia and whatever. You're going to use the digital platforms that are available. But you are also going to be critical of who wrote it and how it can be verified. And so that's how you marrying the traditional with the new, with the AIs.
And the practicality. I say this because my sister, I see her as someone who's she's what do they call them, Gen Z? And she said to me, because she was doing matric last year, and she said to me, please, I do not understand why we need to go through all of these things and all of that for this space of time. Like, we could be doing something like, I could be getting my license in matric, you know, as a module, and that be also my pass ticket to matric. I could be getting you're supposed to get your ID already by the time you're matric. I could be getting a bank account and understanding the different types of investments that are in that bank account as a subject in matric, as opposed to me doing, you know, a history paper for 3 hours and sitting and writing about things that have happened. Although history is important, very important, but I need something practical so that when I leave matric and I do not get a space in a varsity, I am still well equipped and well informed to survive in the workspace.
Yeah. And the sad thing is that there is knowledge that you don't necessarily take with you to the next level. It is something that you need to just get through. I told the students a few years ago that it's almost a rite of passage. But a rite of passage is supposed to bring you to a level where you are now flourishing. No, because you've gone through all the phases, like a locust, it turns into a butterfly.
Yes.
But our kids, there's almost nothing
to work with.
To work with. So where's the entrepreneurship? Because again, there is the difference of solving problems. Because I tell you, there are lots of things that I need a solution for. But we're not telling our kids that, you know what, my baby, you are capable of doing this. Yeah, I'm now worried about the tax. It's tax season. And I've got to figure out how am I going to do this, and I really don't want to learn. I don't want to keep on talking to the SARS bot the whole time. But if my kid was taught in school how to do tax,
it empowers the whole family.
Don't look at those numbers, you know that money is just on paper. But just sort this out for me.
Yes.
And so that's the empowerment that we need to introduce in the schools.
Yeah.
And not leave it for when the child has the opportunity to choose subjects in grade 9. Their choice should start from much earlier so that by the time they get there, they're mastering. They're no more learning. They are mastering this. So when they get to varsity, then I can choose to do anything because, you know, I already know the basics.
Well, it's
do you recall we had a talk about finances?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, when you were still in varsity.
Yeah.
And those are the types of things that really should be happening. Planning your budget. How do you invest and all that?
And not on a small scale, because people will argue that in grade 7 you have what is called market day.
Yeah.
You have market day and you're given a budget and then you need to work around that. Then you make profits, then you divide. It's small scale. It's not the real life situations that you find yourself in where you now an adult, you're working, you get your first salary for the first time. Okay, what do I do for the first time? Then you realize I have rent, I have car insurance, I have this. Is it really wise to already put yourself in a situation where you are going to be paying off so many things? And we learn and make these mistakes as adults, whereas I feel like if we had learned it earlier, we would have maybe maneuvered through life a little bit easier.
You would have been saving more than you are spending because you have this goal
So yeah, it's just one of those things. So the next one is, are we designing, and we touched on this, a system for all learners? And as teachers, I think we know what we speak about when we say all learners. When I read through our script, I thought of the special ed space and special needs space, and that space entirely is something I haven't had the privilege or the privy of looking at it from an education perspective. I just have, friends and family who, have children with special aid. And I know it's such a topic we don't speak about, and I'd like to find out, I think also through the duration of this podcast, focus on special aid itself to say, are these children, or as a system of education, are we doing justice? And I'm focusing on them because we know how it is as an able-bodied person to go to school and be able to sit here and conversate, with a certain level of intellect, with a certain level of an EQ. It's easy for us. We don't have to think about it. What happens to those who it's not as easy, and are we supporting them?
Yeah, the ones that are learning different from others. I can argue that mainstream is also exclusive. There are kids that are they don't have special needs.
They just learn differently.
They learn differently, and because we assess in only one way, then we go back to tradition. So now we using all kinds of online things to consolidate information, whatever, and we expect all our learners to respond in an assessment in the same way. So everyone must write. Not everyone has the patience to write. Not everyone can express themselves.
Articulate themselves in written form.
Exactly. So what are we actually doing? Because we're moving this way in the classroom, and then assessment, we're still sticking to the old forms. So that means in mainstream, even those kids who are able to write are being excluded. And the only ones that demonstrate learning are the ones that can do it the traditional way.
So your top 10.
Yeah. And already there, if a child never experiences a sense of achievement at that lower level, from the lower level, and they don't get an opportunity to express themselves differently, while still achieving the same goal, because again it goes back to the goal. What do we want the child to be able to do? Then it's going to be a question of no, don't worry, you don't have to write. No. And then we have all these excuses that we're coming up with, that the child maybe needs to go to a smaller school and
adding J.
But yet the system is not geared for everyone. So who are we catering for?
Oh, that's a deep one. It's such a deep one. As teachers, we always go back to time. We don't have the time to teach Jabu, Nicole, Amber in different ways, because Jabu needs to be stimulated in a visionary state. Amber needs visual learning, auditory learning, this, that. We don't have the time. So what do we do? Yeah.
Remember I said the system needs to change. But I've thought of a way where, on a small scale, on a micro system, on a micro level, you can create micro systems. But then again, it goes back to those 4 C's, the 4 skills of the 21st century skills of collaboration, creativity, communication, and what's the last one? I always forget it. But I have it somewhere. Okay. So now again, if we collaborate, we've got to be able to trust each other. And so creativity, if I find a way that I can assess a specific student, I should be able to communicate with my co-teachers about a way that I'm using and that we can share. But now, the sense of competition, where you're making it work for yourself only, because we are not all buying into having a common goal. So microsystems are things that can work, where you have all your grade 6 teachers, and we're talking about new ways to assess our kids. But then we must still remember now the summative and the formative.
And
in all these hoops that you have to jump through, and the hoops that we have to jump through takes us so far away from the child who needs to learn and needs to achieve. And as a parent, you want your kid to the 7s, right? Nobody wants to anything less than the 7. But we need to look at the sense of satisfaction that a child will experience when you are given an opportunity to respond in a way that works for you. The best way, based on your abilities. And not
on a standardized form. But it's an ongoing conversation, so I think it's one we definitely want to take further. So you've answered this again as well. What changes would you like to see in how the curriculum is developed and rolled out? I also had a thought process, and again, this is a conversation that we hope does reach a government level, because it starts there. It starts with, the rolling out starts with them, where every, I'd say 3 to 5 years, we need to look at revising the curriculum as a whole. You mentioned places like China. There's a video on the internet where I think they at creche, they children are at creche, and they're cooking, and have you seen that video? And you're like, wow. Yes, I'm sure their system has its own flaws, but they are tackling every nuance of childhood development, and it's being attacked. It's not just maths, it's not just English, it's not just, it's every single corner, from cooking, from cleaning, from, all these skills that we need addressed. And I think a 5-year rollout for me makes sense because, or 12-year, let's look at the 12-year rollout, because then maybe you'd be able to assess, okay, this generation has now gone into the workplace, what are we looking at? And as a whole, we need to be able to sit, with teachers from the foundation phase all the way up into matric, not excluding higher education either, just to say, this is working, this is not working, scrap it, let's go again. Do you understand? Because at the end of the day, these children need to go out to war with the correct tools. They need to be able to live life with the correct tools. And right now, they, like we discussed, they're just gonna get to matric. After matric, you sit and you're like, oh, okay, what just happened?
Yeah. What am I supposed to be doing from here?
Where to from here?
Mm-hmm. For me, again, it comes back to, if this is what we see ourselves as a country in the next 5 years, there's a 2030 plan.
Yeah.
But what is it?
What is it?
What am I supposed to do? Or what am I supposed to be finding at the end of the 2030 rainbow? So if you don't know as a teacher, you don't know where to lead the kids to. And if the curriculum is also so broad, and we know CAPS is so broad, you can do anything and everything but master, because you simply don't have the time.
Yes.
So people have to sit down and say, okay, as a nation, this is what we would like to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How long is it going to take us? What do we need to do? And it again goes back to something we don't like as teachers, training. Are we training our teachers well enough to be able to achieve this goal?
Yes.
And once we've done that, our population, our citizens, do they know what the goal is? Because if I know what's going on, I can put my weight behind it.
Yes.
But if I don't know, I'm just going to go through the motions.
Day by day.
Yeah, and have expectations that are not realistic because I don't know where we're going. So
that's very, very true. Even sectors like agriculture, mining, sewing, cooking, the hand skills, the welding, all of that. I believe there was a time in the education system where it was like that.
Yeah.
What happened to that? There's a scary stat, and I'll look for it, that says the unemployment rate that we have is majority male. And when I looked at that, I was like, okay, why? But we have our boys that we are raising now have lost that touch of hand skills, because engineering is only bought with EGD drawing. Okay, a little bit of it in technology as you grow, EGD drawing, and then you have to again reach those maths English levels for you to get into a proper school and then become this renowned engineer in whatever field that you choose. But the welders, the plumbers, and all of those things, our boy children, we focus a lot on the girl children, but our boy children as well are losing that ability. Because I know with my dad, if daddy, the light's not working, he'll come in and fix it, the boy children that we have now, no offense to our boy children now, but they've lost that touch.
I don't think they've lost their touch.
But we're not supporting it as an education system, I feel.
Can I tell you from the perspective of someone who was in school?
Yeah.
During apartheid, I can't believe I'm saying it, but and we were taught those things. And then came the whole democracy and whatever.
The shift.
And so nobody wanted to be a housewife anymore. So no one's going to do what is it? Consumer studies. Because we all want to be accountants.
Yeah.
Okay.
To be
So that shift that happened there meant that my child is not going to come home and wash floors and clean up.
Yeah.
And those are basic skills for you to be able to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Now we don't do that anymore because what will people think?
Yes.
So it's better if my kid goes to extra lessons in what if not. And they're constantly busy because we all want to produce academics.
Or sports even.
Yeah. And so our focus is on producing all these graduates. And what do we have now for graduates? Nothing, because there's no one who can do the basic things that we need.
And the people are graduating. It was graduation season now. People are graduating.
So everybody is educated, but
the real core things.
Somewhere along the way we miseducated our kids. We prepared them for a world that doesn't exist. Because even academia is it's full. It's packed. We can't all be professors and what have not.
Yeah.
So somebody's got to do their thing. So
and reshuffling and
so if my thesis is about whatever, I need to be able to take that thesis, bring it back to the people and let it be something that's useful for the world. But no. And really, I have friends that they've doctorates in whatever not, and I know what it's in. But where are we going?
And where have you implemented with all of this research?
Yeah, and how is it helping society? Because that is the purpose. So maybe we need to just step back.
Well, we need to step
and then re-strategize because we still need hands. Yes, we're all saying, oh, mechanization and the 4IR and all of that. But behind all of that, there's still people. Who are those people?
The world is talking about food production and how that sector is. Where are we going back to say, okay, the generation that's going to live in this world, we need to teach them to take care of the earth. We need to teach them this, that, and the other. And what of that practicality?
Yeah, and yes, we can use the machine to go and harvest the peaches.
But
fine. But if that machine breaks down,
then what?
Who's fixing it?
And in a world where nobody remembers how to plant anymore. So yeah. All right. So now we're gonna dive into another big one. So it's a big one because I don't want anyone to take offense. But yeah, parental pressure and expectations. Okay, so I think it's a module that we did in varsity where we speak of the community around education, and the parent-teacher community or relationship rather is a very, very important one. And I don't know where we lost the plot. I really don't know where we lost the plot, but sometimes it feels like as teachers we are under scrutiny. From a parent point of view. Parents say we're paying school fees, we're doing that, so why are you not doing your job? So again, opening the platform to discussion, how has your experience been with parent dynamics in particular?
Besides for the fact that I'm older than the parents.
Yes, please
so
put that out there.
With you still meet up with parents that are your age or you know, they're older than you.
Yes.
Now you're supposed to be the one with wisdom when it comes to me. So I think we want the same things, teachers and parents.
Yes.
We want the kids to do well. We want the best behaving kids. We want perfect conditions.
Yes.
But unfortunately we are all people. And there's no perfect where we come
into play.
Yeah, exactly. And so, how do parents determine their kids' success? Distinctions. That's now a high school thing mostly.
Yeah.
Academic colors, the white blazer, the what awards evening. Again. That's a traditional way.
Yes.
Do you know that I would jump out of my skin if my son comes and he says to me, I've created an app
Yes.
and it can do 1, 2, 3 and what.
Mm.
Because that is their world.
Yes.
So parents also need to relook at how they define achievement and what the expectations are and how much they're going to put pressure on the powers that be, not on the teacher, because you don't make the decisions. You are just the tool to implement the curriculum.
Yeah.
Because that's where the power lies. The parent voice is the strongest voice.
That's true.
Because if you look in public schools, SGB, the biggest component is the parents.
The parents, yeah.
Private schools, parents pay the fees,
Yes.
so they have the
They
voice.
have to say.
So where does it actually lie with them? So again, parents did empowerment again. Remind people that you have the right to say,
What's
this is
about
not
your child's
working.
life? Yeah.
Because it's not helping the kid. Instead of putting the pressure on the teacher, yes, they need to be critical of what we do,
Yeah.
but they must also be supportive. So once a parent hits that balance, then you build lifelong relationships with
Yes, you definitely do.
Yeah.
You do. There are those parents where you build a lifelong relationship and they come back years after and say, no, my child has done this, thank you for suggesting this and that.
Yeah.
So that's what we would like to see more. And then this is also just following into the parent. What happens when parents expect more than what's realistic? Or when they forget that we are also human too?
Yeah, well,
No?
that's tricky.
It's very tricky. I obviously, as a young teacher, I had, I think, an experience where I experienced a parent who I think was going through, certain things in their personal life, but it came out, and the personal life and the children and all of that, and it came out in me, and I will never till this day forget that, she's like, yeah, it's because you don't have children and you don't know what you're doing and this, that, and the other. And I just sat there, in shock. And every time I speak of this experience, I'm like, it's the humanity. It's the humanity of everything, of it all. I always use the comparison as doctors because it's the profession that we all deem as, the most difficult. But when they have to announce, no, okay, the operation didn't go well, and this is what happened, etc., etc. You don't dismiss that doctor. You don't belittle that doctor. I mean, I'm sure they have had those situations, but you thank the doctor for doing the best that they could in that situation. How can we do better? You ask for advice. So I think even till this day, that scenario stays, and I'm like, what are we trying to achieve? And how do you expect me tomorrow to go into the classroom and teach your child and want the best when you have insulted me to this level?
Now again, are you gonna cut this out? That happened to me as a young teacher, where my colleague said to me, you know what, you don't have respect because you're not a mother. And I was like, yeah, we are professionals. So yes, you are older than me, but let's just remember that on a professional level, we are doing the same thing here. So you establish that boundary, because it's very important.
Yeah.
And then you deal with the problem. What is the issue here? Is it, I'm definitely not the issue, and the fact that I don't have children.
Yeah.
So how can we best help your child
Work around, yes.
to do better, to improve? And let's keep the emotion out of things.
Yes.
And, something I like doing is I always step away. Because the minute your emotion takes
Overrides.
over,
Yeah.
then logic flies out the window.
Mm.
Or you bring in someone that you trust,
Yes.
that will just listen,
Mm.
so that a third perspective is usually the one that makes you see, okay, maybe I responded too quickly.
Yeah.
No, we don't overreact. We just respond
Too quickly.
too quickly without thinking it through.
Mm.
And you know, and maybe if I stood further away,
Mm.
I would see better.
Yeah.
So that's how I generally deal with when there's a sticky situation.
Mm.
But it doesn't take the anxiety away.
No way, yeah.
Because you always worry, what if this is the one thing that's going to break me as a teacher, as a person? Because behind the teacher is a person. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, there's always that fear, but don't be afraid to say, I'm not able to respond now. Give me space.
Yeah.
But first set the boundary. The issue here is not parenting. It is teacher and child.
Yes.
Student, not child.
Not child. Yeah, student. Yeah, I don't know. My heart goes out for especially those young teachers who are stepping into the profession for the first time, because the parents today, a different term, and I don't think parents know it that so much to say, like, they are the reason sometimes that you would leave the profession. You would leave to say, you know what, I can't actually deal with this. I can't deal with being criticized day after day. I can't deal with, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing, and it's not necessarily from your boss. Yes, I'm trying my level best, but if I'm gonna deal with this from a daily basis, then I would rather, leave.
Yeah. Again, we're going back to the 21st century.
Yeah.
Communication. So sometimes, and I know in some spaces they say, communicate. Now I believe in effective communication.
Yes.
And so, I'm not going to be sending you an email every time, but I'm going to make you aware of an issue that I also need you to take responsibility for. So something as simple as, look, I've noticed 1, 2, 3. Can I suggest that we do this? So again, you are now being proactive as opposed to reactive, because we can quickly find out who and I'm so afraid to use a word that's negative, but who the parent, what type of parent you're dealing with. You have to be very careful, but make sure that you communicate before.
Yeah.
So as you pick up the problem, you communicate so that you can always refer back to it and say, can we just step back and look at 1, 2, 3?
Yes.
Because you're covering your back.
At the end of the day. And I think the highlight is we're on the same page, like you mentioned. We have crossed paths because of your child.
Yeah.
So that is the center of both our aims at the end of the day. And let the relationship, like you said, also have boundaries. Let it not cross, where you cannot go to work because now you're going to be sitting in the car park. And there's so many teachers that go through this. Hence, I'm so adamant. You're sitting in the car park and there's that, parent who drives past and that one threatened you of this and that. I think there's a space there, a very scary space there that we're not speaking about, and we need to develop. And also because as teachers, we're not protected. Can I step into that? We're not protected legally. Maybe in the public space you'll speak of the, I don't know, I know there's unions.
Is the unions?
Yes, in place. But whatever happens to you happens to you, like, straight. There is no guarding of any sort in that scenario. And yeah, I think as a teacher who's been teaching for the small amount of years that I've been teaching, I felt like there is no protection. And the best thing to sometimes do at a very early stage of your career is to leave. And then you find yourself where I think a lot of young teachers are right now is you go hopping from place to place. So there's something there, and I don't know how we can maybe address the conversation in a manner in which we can be heard and we can meet, everyone can meet each other halfway to say, okay, we hear, this is what, educators are saying, and as parents, how can we then, also meet them at the party, and how can we all understand we are here for the benefit of the child at the end of the day.
But it goes back to that emotional toll you were talking about earlier, where you now lie there in bed and think, okay, I know tomorrow there's going to be something waiting for me.
Girl, I mark papers and I'm like, oh gosh, okay. Tomorrow, when I give my children back their scripts, I'm gonna have to, now, because I need to see, strategize that I'm gonna get emails here. I'm gonna get emails because now the scripts have to go back. I'm gonna get emails here and there, and it's not a comfortable place, I think, to be.
The level of anxiety, I think that the younger teachers are experiencing is terrible, because you can just say, this is not going to work. Let me move on. And eventually you move out of the profession.
Yes, completely.
And that's something that we can ill afford. Because what we're seeing now, at least what I'm seeing, is that the conversations I'm having with my peers and is like, okay guys, so what are we going to be doing in the next 5 years? And so now we're weighing options. The one says, I don't want to be in school or teaching until I'm 60. Fine, makes a whole lot of sense. Neither do I. But what do I do? Because I still need to live.
Yeah.
So the options are, you can be, when we observe the students?
Invigilator?
You can invigilate, but okay, they only write exams twice a year.
Yeah.
Okay, you can be a marker for some institutions, but most of them want you to be actively teaching.
Yeah.
So if you're not teaching, you can't mark.
Okay.
You can go and evaluate student teachers. That also happens at certain times of the year.
Yes.
You
so
can
consistent.
tutor, but if they teach well at a school, there's no guarantee you're going to have a client. So we need younger teachers to stay in the profession for as long as possible, so that there's not that gap when older teachers leave.
Yeah.
But also again, there must be enough time for you to get the experience, so that when the older teacher leaves, nobody even notices, because it is a continuity, because you are skilled enough to continue. So very important, the mental health or concern about the mental health of teachers. Very important.
Very important.
Because you also not just a teacher. Somebody cut you off at the robot or wherever.
Exactly.
You also coming there and you're already in a tailspin. And now you need to find yourself, center yourself.
To be able to deliver yourself in front of the kids and give them,
Exactly.
the best. And you do that every single day, no matter what you're going through.
Yeah, you smile, but you're actually breaking inside.
Yes.
Happens to everybody, but more so for someone who stands in front of children that will be affected by your emotional state. And the younger the kids are, the more difficult.
The more demanding it
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Because you need to be the same every day.
Yes.
Yeah. Even the older kids. There are some kids, they just walk in and they ask you, what's wrong?
Because they can see it in your face.
What do you mean? No, something is wrong.
Yes, you're not okay now. Are you ooh, yeah.
Okay, sometimes it's for them to get out of working in class.
Sometimes
but
it is,
most of the time, you know which kid
knows
picks
you.
up on your emotions immediately.
That's true. But yeah, okay. Thank you. So we're going to move on to the last two segments, which I think we've also spoken about. It's going to be remuneration and growth. So we don't want to focus. We've spoken about a lot of heavy things, and I don't want this to be a somber episode. Or no. We still love what we do. Hence, we're still in the profession till the day. So we're gonna just move on to, I'll say remuneration and motivation, and then growth and hope. So, with regards to the motivation, I'll ask this: what would change if teachers were compensated differently or compensated fairly? What do you think would change, in the society, in the space at home or at large? And what is to compensate fairly? Because when I think of it, I'm like, we're not asking, we as a country are going through, I think we're not the only people who are complaining about, compensation right now. I think as a whole, we are going through a financial era, So, when we think of compensation, what are we really asking for?
Being able to also send your kid to school without stressing. But we are unfortunately, what do they call it, the missing middle. So you are paid well enough to not qualify for anything else. And so you find that lots of teachers don't qualify for subsidies for their kids, like the NSFAS and all of those things, because you're making a good living. There are teachers that struggle to pay their kids' fees in public schools. You don't qualify for that, money that the department pays on your behalf, because you earn 400,000 a year. So we're sitting there, we are not poor enough, but also not in a good enough position to maintain a good lifestyle. Because most teachers are now, you have to take medical aid.
Yes.
Big chunk out of your your salary. And then all these other things that middle class people should have.
Yes.
But can ill afford. So teachers are lying in there, in the middle. So compensation should really be looked at differently. And again, I have my own ideas of how teachers can be recognized better in terms of financial remuneration. Again, that foundation phase. So if we are producing kids that can read 80% of them, why are those teachers not being recognized financially? And so it becomes a goal. And it's not just we say 80% of the kids can read.
We can prove it.
Yeah, there has to be measures to prove it, like we have with the matric exam. Yeah. So put those things in place and make it profitable for people to produce students that can actually do what we say we are teaching them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, for me also the remuneration part of it is a lot. I know in the teaching space we are also facing, a lot of our teachers are going Dubai, China, or whatever the case may be, and there are even a lot of podcasts on those particular conversations. And is everyone watching this and not asking why? Is my whole thing. Like, it's because we can barely make ends meet.
Yeah, if you went 5 years ago and you earned 50,000, it was something. If you go now and you earn 50,000, it's nothing.
It's nothing.
Because the only upside, and they're dealing with it now, is the fact that you're not taxed on it. So it's like tax-free money in your pocket.
In your pocket, yeah.
But then you have to live there, and then you come here, and you spend that money hoping that you will be able to change your life for the duration of your 3-year contract or however long those contracts are. And after that, what?
Then what?
If they don't renew your contract, then you have to come back and now earn that 50,000 here, but it's worth what, 20, 25? And so did you really make a difference? No, you didn't.
Yeah, we can't keep, pushing it under the rug, because at some point, I think I was sharing with you earlier on when we spoke privately, we need to, there are teachers who are teaching, and for instance, your student, you guys are matric teachers, your student is driving a better car than you. Or, you barely making ends meet, you're living so far away from your workplace. You're living in the location, and you are envious of how are the parents here are able to live in these areas, and I teach here, but I can't live in these areas, etc., etc. And that is a problem. It can't go unsaid. It really cannot go. And we're not asking to be the millionaires of the world, no.
Yeah.
Just to make, like you said, pay your children's tuition fees. Have your house paid off. Have your cars paid off. That's the bare minimum that you are. You're not even asking to go on vacation every year.
Exactly. Look where we are at all.
Exactly.
So that feeds back into nobody wants to be a teacher because there's no money.
Yeah.
But everybody needs a teacher. So when will those who pay teachers recognize that they need to do better for teachers?
Louder in the background.
Honestly, because what's the point? Why are we stressing about what am I going to do if I don't want to teach anymore?
Exactly.
And we can't be spending all our time trying to make money. Tupperware is gone. It's gone, so we're not selling Tupperware anymore.
There's no Herbalife anymore. It's also going down a little bit.
Oh, okay. So
honey, handbags, and perfumes.
We've been there, we've done it.
Competition.
It gave us extra stress. We've done a lot
of side hustles.
Yeah. But then again, we are told that we are not working anyway. No. Now you decide, okay, I'm not going to do the honeys and the Avons and the what and frustrate everyone and irritate everyone. So I'm going to tutor. Now that requires what? Time. Because it's either you have to be online or you have to travel to wherever you're tutoring. Or you have to go and work for an agency where they charge the student 500 rand and you get 150. But you're doing all the work.
You're the one traveling up and down, the content, the methodology, everything.
Yeah, and in most cases it's a question of that time that you have free is for you to recover.
From everything.
The whole week of dealing with everybody's emotions.
Everything, yes.
So you come back on a Monday, you are finished.
Because you're not only working for your job, you're working another job, you're trying to make ends meet, and it's just a cycle.
Yeah, you're trying to balance so many balls at the same time. And what happens then? You do nothing well. Or you do one thing well, and the rest, I'll see how I do it.
Yeah, no. It's something else. So now the last section, which is the growth and the hope. So despite all of these challenges, we're still here, like I said, we're still here. We're still hopeful. We're still passionate. I mean, I think that's one thing I gauge at least. What would your message be, firstly, to the new teachers who are entering the profession? And what still gives you hope for the South African education space?
Okay, so what I try to do almost every holiday is do a short course.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly looking for things.
Ever learning.
Yeah. Last week we did one on leadership, and yeah, it's the thing is, you need to make sure that you stay abreast of changes.
Yes.
And not just changes within our country, within the school that you're at, but on a global scale. So using platforms like your LinkedIn and your so forth, joining, because I'm very curious.
Yes.
So the Canva teacher certificate, try and get it. The Microsoft certificate, try and get it. Use all these things so that you, when you present yourself, you are able to speak on more than just, oh, I teach maths to grade 4s. No, we appreciate you. In your position as a maths grade 4 teacher, we appreciate you. But what more are you bringing
to the table?
Yeah. And how else can we use you to improve the environment where you are? Yeah. And then also experiment with all these little plans.
And all of that. It's beautiful.
I just enjoy it. So, like I said to you, I'm going to find out how you can use the QR code to mark. That is my mission for this holiday. Maybe I'll understand it. Maybe I'll get it right. Even if I don't, I'm able to say, you know, I tried this. Is there anyone else who tried it? Or is there someone who knows a little bit more than I do about it? But you need to be in that space. In America and in the US, there's so many teacher organizations.
Yes.
And yes, we don't have the same curriculum. But there are awesome things that they're doing.
Yeah.
Like right now, teachers, they're going to go back after the summer holidays. They're busy doing a GoFundMe for class decorations. It's like so cute. So they have a theme for their class, and then it says and that and that. That's something that you can
tap into.
Yeah. And it's nothing. You don't expect anything from the state, nothing from your employer, whatever. You're just going to create this space, this awesome space where kids are going to learn and flourish and be happy. Yeah. And you will also be happy in a nice space.
Yes.
I guess.
And then South Africa, our context, our education system, broadly, what do you think? Is there still hope? What can be done? Besides us as individuals, you spoke of us as individuals, you empower yourself, go on these courses, learn more than just, I'm a grade 4 mathematics teacher. Be, out there, Canva, Microsoft, all of these things. But as the South African education space, what do you think? Maybe just one, not all of your ideas, but just one thing that can be implemented.
Okay. Look, there's a lot of knowledge that has not been unearthed yet.
Yeah.
And we spoke earlier about the doctorates and the masters, and there's nothing more interesting than someone who does a thesis on knowledge that we were not aware of, but can be included in the curriculum.
Yes.
So the state again needs to fund people to study things that will be for the benefit of
the overall.
The country.
Yeah.
So it's either they're not taking this seriously or we're not speaking loudly enough.
Well, we've started.
Yeah, we've started.
We've started. Thank you, Thea. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
And thank you to our listeners. Please don't forget to subscribe, to like, to comment, okay, and rewatch this video and share it to all your family members, please. Like we said, we are here as teachers. We're passionate about what we do. We are not only teaching, but we're also talking on this platform. So thank you so much. Till next time. Bye.